Hey everybody, good morning. Good morning. I hope your day is starting out well. Today we are talking about really the worst temptation. It is a constant temptation, and it's related to that small voice in the back of your head. I think you all know what I'm talking about. That voice that you hear when there's nothing else going on, nothing else occupying that space. And for some reason, that internal voice we all have is largely critical of us or largely negative. I don't know why that is, but it seems to be true. So I know from my experience and from helping a lot of people, coaching a lot of people, that a big temptation naturally for people, but I think especially entrepreneurs, real estate investors who are on their own, building their own business, big temptation is to compare ourselves to other people. And social media makes this even more of an issue because if we get on social media, we immediately see the very best of somebody else's business or the very best of somebody else's life, the little snippets that they want to share with other people, and only those snippets, right? So there is this temptation to compare ourselves to other people. And a lot of times that goes alongside of that internal voice that's somewhat critical of us. And I'm not speaking today as someone who has this all resolved and put in my past. I'm speaking today as someone in the trenches who still is working to control that voice in my head and what comparisons I make. And so I am speaking to myself as well as hoping that it helps you all. So that temptation is always there. And no matter what we achieve, no matter how successful we are, we can find somebody else who, at least in one area, has more success, right? Even if, let's say, you were an Olympic athlete and you win the gold medal, and this would be an interesting study of gold medal winners in the Olympics. So, theoretically, according to the rules of the Olympics, they are the best in the world because they've won that gold medal. But I am very confident that those athletes still look at some other people, even other athletes, and wish that they could be as good as other athletes. Maybe that they could have as good a family life as other athletes, or that maybe they would have a different background than other athletes, or there is probably still that nature, that internal human nature to compare themselves to others, even though by the world standards they are the best. So no matter what we have achieved, we can always find somebody else who, when we take a little snippet, it looks like they are doing better than we are. So, and I know that that's true from everybody I've talked to in personal experience. If you can't relate to this at all, then don't worry. You got this problem solved and you can move on to the next episode. But for the rest of us, how do we deal with that? How do we compartmentalize that or put aside those negative statements from our own voice and that tendency to compare ourselves to others? Because naturally, when we work individually as an entrepreneur or investor, we try to look for some kind of marker to see if we're doing well, because we don't have an employer or a boss who gives us this objective criteria and essentially says, yes, you're doing a good job, or no, you're not doing a good job, right? So as an entrepreneur and investor, we need to have some kind of criteria so we can internally know if we're doing well or not. And that objective criteria should not be what other people are doing or in comparison to others. It should be related to ourselves. So, some key things to do to be more effective in this area. Number one, our comparisons should be in relation to our goals. So if we map out our goals, I talked about this in the last episode, mapping out your goals. We're getting ready for the new year. I'm sure people are considering what their goals are going to be for 2021. And so when you map out your goals, then the comparison should be, are you accomplishing your goals or not? Right? If we decide what we're going to accomplish in the next year, and then when we look at our progress, if we are making progress and accomplishing what we said we were going to accomplish, we are doing well. If we are falling short of our goals, then we have a problem and we need to change it, right? So that should be the key objective criteria for whether we are being successful or not. Now, sometimes, even when you're hitting your goals, and I am notoriously bad at this, even when I hit my goals, I wish I'd done more, right? Let's say I want to add 10 units next year, and then I add 14, and still I'm like, oh, I should have hit 16. Why did I only get 14, even though my target was 10? So I think there is a necessity to compare our goals to what our potential is. What do we think? What do we believe that we have been designed or built to accomplish? So we don't want to ever have goals that are too small. So what is your potential in the next year? What do you think you can accomplish in the next year? And maybe increase it. Maybe increase it a little bit so that you're not quite sure how you could accomplish it. I know that sometimes my greatest jumps have been when I wasn't sure how I could get the work done, or I wasn't sure how I could accomplish the goal. I had to come up with some new solution, right? That's when my greatest achievements really have occurred. And so I would challenge you to, when you're looking at your goals, especially this time of year, we're all looking for goals moving forward for the next year. Consider, what is your potential? Not how much do you think you can accomplish in the next year, but how much do you really think you'd be able to handle in the next year? If your goal is to add 10 units, could you handle 15? Or if your goal is to wholesale 20 deals, could you wholesale 30 deals? If those deals came to you, right? If you came across them. And I would challenge you that if you set big enough goals so that you're not quite sure how to accomplish them, then you will be more excited and feel more fulfilled when you do accomplish them. So that will help with the comparing yourselves to others. So not only set goals, not only write them down, like I talked about in the last episode, that key task of putting them in writing, but make sure they are big enough that you're not quite sure how it can be done. And that is going to be where your potential is. And additionally, you need to be around better people. So this is, I believe it was Jim Rohn who said, you will end up being a combination of the 5 people you spend the most time around. And it's very true that if our friends are good with money, we end up being good with money, or at least the people that we spend time with, if they're good at money, we end up being good at money. If the people we spend time with are successful investors, then we will end up being a successful investor. And likewise with health, if the people that we spend the most time with are unhealthy and don't exercise, then we're going to slip that way. If we end up spending a lot of time with people who are healthy, exercise regularly, care about their food choices, then we will end up caring about our food choices, exercising regularly, and we'll be more healthy. Okay. So if we want to be successful, we need to be around better people. And what I mean by that is, as we develop, we're all trying to increase our personal development, right? Professionally and personally, become better, more successful, have better skills. And as we go through that process, we need to be around more successful people. So when we're, let's say, in the early stages of investing, we can learn a lot from just about any other investor who's been investing for a while. But as we develop, we need to keep challenging ourselves to seek out people who have more experience, uh, more information, better background, so that we can benefit from their experiences, their background, and what they know, so that we can continue to grow. And so I would challenge you, think about the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm not talking about your immediate family. I'm talking about friends, business associates, the people that you choose to spend your time with. And are they lifting you up, making you a better person, or are they holding you back from becoming who you could truly be? So we always need to be around better people and seek out those better people. And for me, this temptation, this worst temptation of comparing ourselves to others, can often be a huge hindrance when seeking out those better people. If we are always trying to be around people who are better than us or further along than us, that whole better than us sounds really bad, but further along than us, if we compare ourselves to others, we're always going to feel like a failure, right? We're always going to be farther behind than the people we hang out with. And so we have to get over that hump. We have to be comfortable with being around people further along than us, more successful than us, because that is what will truly get us where we want to be the fastest. So I hope that helps. I hope you are in the process of nailing down some amazing goals. I hope you are making those goals big enough that you're not quite sure how to accomplish them. And I hope that you are striving continually to be around people who challenge you to do more than you think is possible, and who are probably further along than you, who have more experience in the business than you, because really putting in that effort, seeking out those people, spending time with those people will drastically increase the amount of time it takes you to get to your success and be where you want to be. So I hope that helps. And if the Elevate Mastermind group is one way for you to be around those types of people, if you are interested in finding more information about that, you can go to a website, truewealthinvestors.com/mastermind. There's a lot of information there. There's an application there if you're interested in joining. So always appreciate you. Thanks for joining me today. We'll talk to you soon.